بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي توحد بالعز والبقاء وقهر عباده بالموت والفناء، وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خير الأنبياء وعلى آله الأوصياء. وبعد، فقد قال تعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة، أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. These sessions of commemoration and remembrance and memorial serve two main purposes. The main purpose is to give comfort and to console the family of the deceased, to say some soothing words to his parents, to his father, to his sister, to his sisters, to his mother, to his extended family members and friends, to share the tragedy with them, to share the pain. Life is about sharing our sorrows as well as our happiness with others. Of course, nothing is going to take the pain away from the heart of a beleaguered mother, bereft of the joy of her son or daughter. Nothing can take the pain from the heart of a father who is anticipating to see his son growing and producing and becoming a functioning member of his community. We, the people, we are stricken by these tragedies, but our pain is no way compared to the pain of the family who lost their son. We tend to forget. After a few days, we have to go about our businesses and our life and our engagements. But of course, the family of the deceased, when they come home and see the room is empty, the bed is empty, the place is empty, they would never be able to forget. It's impossible to forget. I know mothers who lost their children 40 years ago. 40 years ago, when the son was very young, and still the mother, still after 4 decades of that tragic event, she remembers that son. And sometimes when she speaks about him, you see the tears rolling down on her cheek. This is something inherent. This is something natural. We cannot escape these consequences. بني وجدتك بعضي بل وجدتك كلي. This is how Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam addresses his son Al-Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. O my son, Bunay, وجدتك بعضي, I find in you some of me. And then he says immediately, rather I find you in me, I find myself in you. My entire being is represented in you. بل وجدتك كلي حتى لو أن شيئا أصابك أصابني وحتى لو كأن الموت أتاك أتاني. If something happens to you, if something hurts you, it is hurting me. If death comes to you, it is coming to me. But then, at the end of the day, the Holy Quran teaches us to say, الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون. I remind the parents of this young man, this talented, aspiring poet. You saw the way he delivers, you saw the way he speaks. It's from the bottom of his heart. Definitely he had a future ahead of him, successful future. Definitely he would have been one of the most influential leaders among the youth in our community. I say to his parents, remember, when you feel lonely, when you look at his room, his books, his space at home, remember this ayah. Remember to say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You're going to receive 3 gifts from your Lord. Ulaika, as a result of that, such people who are steadfast in their patience, alayhim salawatun min rabbihim. The Lord is going to greet them and send His peace on them, wa rahmah, and also His mercy, wa ulaik, indeed, such people who are steadfast and patient, wa ulaika humul muhtadun. Those are the ones who are indeed guided to the right path. The second purpose of such Fatiha ceremonies and memorials is us, my brothers and sisters. It's a reminder that life is not guaranteed for any person. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam says, رب مستقبل يوم ليس بمستدبره. Maybe you find a person that he begins the day but he does not end with that day. He cannot continue that day. Maybe you can see a person going to his home at the end of the day, expected to reappear on the following day, but he does not. He would not have a second day for himself. He would not have a following day for himself. This is the reality of this life. We have to believe in this. We should not wait until it happens to us. السعيد من اتعظ بغيره. The happy person, the fortunate person, is the one who looks around him and he sees what is happening in his community, in his neighborhood, in his town, and he would draw lessons from that for himself. This is indeed the fortunate person. We have to learn a lesson, to be on the standby for the final departure. So when the time comes, we are ready for that moment. We don't know why neither philosophers, theologians, scholars have discovered why some people should go at the age of 15 or 20 or 25 or 30, while others, the date of their departure would be postponed until their 80s and 90s. They still could not figure that out. These are one of the secrets of qada and qadr. Qada and Qadr. The divine destiny. The divine decree from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the four foundations of faith. Iman has four foundations. Iman stands on four foundations. As Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam explains to us. He says, Al-Imanu ala arba'ati arkan. Stands firmly on four pillars, four foundations. One of them, at-tawakkulu ala Allah, putting your trust in the Lord. The second, at-taslimu li amrillah, the surrenderance to His commands. Third, ar-rida biqada'illah, to agree, to be satisfied. Rida means content and satisfaction, and also happiness and joy. Ar-rida biqada'illah, we have to accept, we have to be satisfied with His divine decree. Qada, it's the divine decree. He decides this for us. Should we say no? Leave it to me, I decide for myself? This is not faith. Faith is to I agree with what you decide for me. I would not complain. I would not disagree with you. I would accept. You created me, you own me, you guide me, you direct me, you feed me, you take care of me. You are the first one for me and the last one for me. My family are going to leave me. You saw on this clip, when they put the deceased in his final abode, it's not the very final. The final is the akhirah. Then we leave him. We all have to put some dust there, pour some dust on him and leave. He would stay with his Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We leave him in the care and the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's the first one we meet and the last one, where he has no beginning, neither an end. Ar-rida biqada'illah. This is the third. And the fourth foundation, وَتَفْوِيضُ الْأَمْرِ إِلَى اللَّهِ. In our life, when we confront some predicaments and we cannot solve them, we come to a dead end. There we have to delegate this case to Him. He would handle it. وَتَفْوِيضُ الْأَمْرِ. Quran says, وَأُفَوِّضُ أَمْرِي إِلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ بَصِيرٌ. Indeed, the Lord is very aware. بَصِيرٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. He knows what is good and what is bad for me. So I leave my case with Him. It's in a safe hand. All what we know is that we have to leave one day. Every creature in this life, every creature in this universe, his or her life would come to a conclusion one day. No one can get away with that. Some of them are, Allah says to them, listen, you are tested. I know your life. I know what you would do. So 20 years is enough for you. I want you to come to me. With others, Allah might say, I would give you another 20 years at the age of 40. With others at the age of 60. And with some, it could be at the age of 90. But we have to know that this life is not the permanent one. We are not meant to stay here. We are meant only to pass. Our ulama, our scholars, they give this parable, this example, that when you have a test, when you have finals, they put you in a room for 2 hours, 3 hours, or 5 hours. then you have to leave that room. You would not stay the whole day. You have to leave that room. This is exactly a test room, testing room, where people are examined. Some they finish. I remember some of the geniuses during our time. We have 2 hours for the test. They would finish in the first 30 minutes. They give their papers and they leave. Others, they stay until the last minute. So we all have to go. Another things that I'd like to reflect on, especially to the young generation in our community. The young generation in our community should read the Holy Quran in chapter 17, Surah Al-Isra. One of the most critical and important injunctions in the Holy Quran. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Your Lord has decreed that you worship none and you do good to your parents. And I want the young generation to listen to this. Here, Allah is saying that doing good to your parents is parallel to monotheism, to Tawheed. He puts them in one degree, in one level, in one verse. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ. He would not accept anything else from you but to worship Him, to submit to Him. أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ. This is the firm belief in monotheism, Tawheed, and immediately after that, to do good to your parents. What does that mean? This is mantuq. In logic, they say this is mantuq, and mantuq, which is spoken, has something else behind it, beneath it, called what? Mafhum. Mantuq is what is spoken, but what is spoken is something behind it that we have to get, a message behind it, called mafhum. Mantuq and mafhum. What is the mafhum of this verse? What do we get out of it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to say, listen, the young generation who have parents, if you pray and you fast and you go to Hajj and you worship me, but you are undutiful to your parents, you disrespect your parents, then as if you have done nothing, as if you have not worshipped me. In the book of Al-Kafi, the Shaykh Al-Kulayni Ridwanullahi Ta'ala alayh, he narrates this hadith from Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. In this hadith, the Imam says, Man nadara ila abawayh, a person who gives the bad look to his parents. Man nadara ila abawayh, to his parents, either his mother or his father. A bad look. He would not hit them, he would not use any physical violence against them. He just gives them the bad look, the angry one. Man nadara ila abawayh, nadara maqitin lahuma. Maqit means someone who dislikes his parents. He's unhappy with them. Nadara maqitin lahuma wahuma zalimani lah, while they abused him. They did something wrong to him. They did something wrong to him. Lam tuqbal lahu salat. His prayers are not going to be accepted. Imagine. I hope the youth would believe in this hadith. It is in one of the most important books of hadith in the tradition of Ahlul Bayt. Kitabul Kafi. Kitabul Kafi. One of the top references of hadith. His parents, they abused him, zaliman, they did injustice to him. He's unhappy about them. He gives them the dirty look. Lam tuqbal lahu salat. His prayers are not going to be accepted by God. In the same page, another hadith from the same Imam. Al-Imam Abu Abdullah Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam says, من العقوق. عقوق is the opposite of birr. بر الوالدين, to be dutiful to them and kind to them and humble before them. This is بر الوالدين. The opposite of it is عقوق, being undutiful to them. من العقوق للوالدين أن تحد النظر إليهما, to look at them with a sharp gaze. Sharp gaze. Not a bad one, sharp. أن تحد النظر إليهما. So how do we look at our parents? With a humility and respect and compassion. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّهُ. Even the way we look at our parents is explained in religion, in the Islamic faith. Therefore, what I see today as a servant of Islam in this community and other communities inside America and outside America, I see the relationship between parents and their children is contentious, unfortunately. The least thing I can say about it, the least say, is unhealthy and un-Islamic. Even within some religious communities. I'm not talking about those who drink and dance and no. Even those who pray, those who fast. When it comes to respecting their parents, they don't live up to that. They don't pay attention to the value of their parents. They don't pay attention to it. They disrespect. They raise their voice. They contest what their parents tell them. They put their own desire above the advice of their parents. My brothers, my sisters, especially the young generation, we have to change this. This is un-Islamic. This is un-Islamic. I mentioned many times, even if we think that our parents are less educated than us, when it comes to respect, we might disagree with them. I'm not saying don't disagree with your parents. I say you might disagree, but you have to respect. You have to respect. Disagreement is something, and disrespect is something else. We might disagree with them, but at the same time we have to respect them. We have to honor them. وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا, the wording of the Quran, وَاخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. And the last point where I conclude, to the young generation, you have a role in this life. You have an important role to play. أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. You have not been created in vain. You have not been created with no responsibility and no role. You have a role. Even those of you who are at the age of 13 and 14, they have a role. They have a role. They should live up to their responsibilities. If they want to have a happy conclusion to their life, if they want to graduate with honor from this life to pass into the other one, into the next one, they have to live up to their responsibilities, whether they are males or females, whether they are 13 years old or 33 years old. They have a role. Number one, ilm. They have to equip themselves with knowledge. Not only with the knowledge that we learn at universities. This is a good knowledge. This knowledge brings you some money, makes you a bread, makes you to bring some food to your family. There is another knowledge which they should learn, and this is how to get close to their Lord to their Prophet, to Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdal as-salatu was-salam. The knowledge of understanding this book, the Holy Quran, they have to learn. Whether they go to classes or through the internet, online, or books or articles or lectures, they have to learn. Today, in today's world, there is no room for those who are unaware. There is no room. Al-Imam Ja'far ibn Muhammad al-Sadiq alayhi salatu was-salam says, لوددت أني ضربت رؤوس أصحابي بالسياط حتى يتفقهوا في الدين. Only if I can, لوددت, only if I can, hit the heads of my companions with a stick to force them to go and learn. ليتفقهوا في الدين. To study their book, to understand this book. This book is full of knowledge and wisdom for us, for the rest of the universe. Many people, they pass through this life without understanding the meaning, the knowledge, anything of this book. This is a tragedy. The young generation here, they have, in order for us to understand Islam and to understand God and to understand our responsibility, this is the gate. We have to go through this book. Al-Kitab wal-Itra, two things were bequeathed by the Prophet to his ummah, to his nation, to his community. Inni taraktu fikum. Most of the books, in both sides, they agree that the Prophet left Kitab Allah wa itrati ahl bayti. Both of them are full of knowledge. Kitab Allah, when we read this Holy Quran with the tafsir, Itra of the Prophet, the books of Hadith. Books of Hadith. Kitab al-Kafi is one of them. Man la yahduruhu al-faqih. Al-Tahdhib, Al-Istibsar, Al-Wasail, Wasail al-Shi'a, Mustadrak al-Wasail, Bihar al-Anwar. We have to acquaint ourselves with these. These are the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt is saved in these books. Part of their knowledge, not their entire knowledge. And second, the second thing that our young generation need today, beside ilm, they need akhlaq. They need manners. They need humility, tawadu'. They need to stay away from arrogance. Arrogance is a very dangerous disease. In order for them to enjoy their lives and to make everyone around them enjoy them and their presence, they need to equip themselves with akhlaq, with the akhlaq of Ahlul Bayt, with the akhlaq of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Fatimatu al-Zahra alayhi salam, and the rest of our Imams. Our Imams, they use these two things, knowledge and akhlaq, to advance their message in this life. In conclusion, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower the grave of marhum Brother Ali Rida Mu'addil with His mercy, with His compassion, with His forgiveness, and bestow patience, perseverance on his mother, on his father, on his two sisters, on his friends, his community members, his extended family members, to give them the ajr, the thawab. As we said, this is one of the most severe tests that a person can go through in this life, is to wake up one day to see that his son, his daughter, the young ones are no longer among them. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's very merciful and compassionate. He sends His patience on the person at the time he needs it the most. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase His patience and His family's to increase them in patience, inshallah, to reward them in this life and in the hereafter. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. And for the soul of the marhum علي رضا معدل الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.